Banner, hello. Thank you.
Well, if you're ready, I'll ask. All right, guys, you
Ready?
all ready?
Okay.
Yep. All right. Yeah. How was the meeting this morning?
Well, it was a great meeting. It was a great turnout. This is a wonderful opportunity for me to travel the state and really talk about the importance of looking at how we deliver services differently. The focus, of course, is property tax reform and reduction. If we have heard one thing loud and clear, as well as the legislators, property tax payers they expect the legislature and the governor's office to do something about this legislative session. You know, we've kind of done a little bit over the last couple years, but really haven't been able to get significant reform done. And I do believe it's the expectations of Iowans that we actually tackle this very tough issue and start to look for ways to provide some property tax relief. It's not easy, or it would have been done. You know, we've talked about it for a long, long time. School funding is about 40% of that property tax bill, 40 to 45% of that property tax bill. So when you combine that with just trying to think about delivering services differently, it's a hard task, but we're determined to try to get something done.
Now, as far as farmers in Iowa over the next year, what's your priority going forward? Like, what do you want to accomplish for farmers?
For farmers as well? Well, first of all, I have been to India twice in 1 year, so looking for not only growing our existing markets, but looking for new markets for our farmers in India makes so much sense, and we have had great trade missions. We were able to meet with some significant ministers last year, Jay Shanker and Goyle, and both of those ministers are actually involved in the trade negotiations. So we understand that maybe we're getting closer to a trade agreement with India. So President Trump and Modi are I think making good progress. That kind of turned when we were in India in September. But there's so much opportunity, not only for ethanol, but for DDGs and soybean meal, which would really help our farmers here in the state, because we're adding value here in Iowa and exporting that value to other countries. You know, when China has been on the sidelines for about 2 years, and so that has a significant impact, and trying to recoup some of that means we expand existing markets and look for new opportunities. I'm still hopeful they can get something done with China. They understand, they think they understand the impact that they can have on agriculture, so a lot of times that is a critical component of the negotiations with China. But I also want to say one of the reasons we are in the place that we are is because the Biden administration did absolutely nothing with trade. The 4 years that they were in office, they drove inflation, which increased input costs for our farmers, and they're reeling from that right now. And so we've had 3 tough years, and hopefully we'll start to see some of these trade agreements come to fruition and provide some relief for our farm communities.
And in the meantime, speaking of the negotiations,
Yep.
As far as protecting farmers from some of these tariffs, the impact of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've made it very clear. And they don't want this, by the way. Our farmers don't want a market facilitation payment. They don't want to pay out, because a lot of times that just goes for the input costs for the next year as they put their crops in the ground. They'd rather just have free and fair trade and have an expansion of markets. But the fact of the matter is that it does take time to get these trade agreements done. And so they're going to have to do something. Secretary Rollins knows that. President Trump knows that. He's said it multiple times. So hopefully Democrats will agree to the continuing resolution so that they can get back to the table and start addressing some of these situations.
A question about the DOGE report
Yep,
released this
yep.
week. What are some of your specific priorities that you'd like to take from that report and give toward the Iowa legislature to pursue?
Yeah, so we talked about some of this in the meeting, just different recommendations that they made. Again, a shared service model. Is there a way that within a county we can share services? Is there any way that we can share across county lines, whether that is EMS, public health, just different areas that we can look at to reduce the cost of providing those services? So what I had said in the press conference, what we'll do is we'll take the recommendations. I've done an initial review of them, but really I've made sure that each of my cabinet members have a copy of the DOGE report. We'll do a cabinet meeting here in the next couple of weeks and kind of get their input on some of the recommendations. They're just recommendations that have been made, and we'll see if some of them make sense, if they align with some of the things we're already looking at. But we're ways out from making any specific taking any of the specific recommendations and turning those into a program for next year. We're just working on that right now. Workforce will be a number one issue next year. We are outdated, and we put $400 million into workforce programs every single year, and yet businesses still tell me it's an issue. And so we have to rethink how we are providing workforce training, how we are providing infrastructure. What do those career and technical centers look like? Do we need to work with the businesses more and make sure that they understand what the programs are? I can tell you part of the problem is we have like 11 to 15 different programs, so it's fragmented, and it's hard to track. It's hard to put metrics on that. And so I think if we can get down to like 2 buckets, 3 buckets, maybe have some flexibility within the buckets, but have metrics in place, expected outcomes. And then I would like to, one of the recommendations that they made that I thought made a lot of sense is to have a board of employers take a look maybe every 3 years at the workforce programs that we have in place and just say, this is working, we need to continue, maybe put more money into it, or this is not getting the results that we thought it would, it is not actually working, and we need to shut it down. And we tend to not do that in government. We tend to think if we put more money in it, maybe we can get it to work, and that's just not what business does, and that's not practical.
Speaking on money,
okay.
Speaking on money, the task force found about $100 million in various state-funded programs that could be redirected. Are some of those work-based learning, is that one of the things?
I think that is one of the things, really. I mean, tax credits, a 10-year bonding. We bond 10 years for workforce. I mean, think about what the workforce looks like today. Think about how rapidly things are changing. Think about AI and technology and innovation. That makes no sense whatsoever. And so we need to be more nimble. We need to be more flexible. We need to be more adaptive with what those programs look like. One of the things that we're not really doing very well within that program that I think we can really pull out and really stand up is retraining. So as we bring technology and AI and innovation into these businesses, that's an opportunity. It's not replacing workers. It's giving them the opportunity to upscale, earn a better income, have a better career path, and really probably increase productivity as well. So those are some of the things we'll be looking at.
Last one, please.
So as far for this specific meeting that you had this morning, what's one of the biggest takeaways outside of property taxes that you would like to see accomplished in your last year as governor?
Well, property taxes, kind of the things that the Doge report focused on, really return on investment, workforce, and just technology and innovation and how we're using that. But really the focus of these meetings, it is property tax reform. Just trying, we had local government there, we had healthcare represented, we had small business represented, we had farmers represented, we had the school represented, everybody that has a taxing authority or that's paying the bill. We try to get some perspective from all of those and have them at the table and just talk about some of the issues. One of the things, mandates that we're maybe putting on local government and not funding. I said, property tax reform doesn't mean that we send all of the services that local government is providing, the funding of that, to the state. We can't just shift it from local to state because it's the same property taxpayer. It's either this pocket or this pocket. It's the same person that we're going after, and so we just need to think about it differently, just like we did at the state level. I did realignment in 2023, and it saved taxpayers over $250 million in 18 months, and that's real money, and we're actually better at how we're providing those services. So I need our universities looking at how they can be more efficient and effective. I need local government looking at how they can be more efficient and effective. And if we're all doing that, it has to ultimately, be a cost savings, hopefully, to taxpayers in Iowa. And then they can reinvest that in our businesses and in our communities, or we can take the administration of those 14 different programs, that cost, and put it into programs, put it into services for Iowans.
Can you talk about your order to hold calls with food banks during the government shutdown?
Oh yeah, so we've already actually started that. So again, I want to just reiterate, I need the Democrats to get to the table and to pass a clean, continuing resolution. If you think about during the Biden administration, 13 different times Republicans signed and voted for a clean CR when the other party was in power. And so that's how you move forward. That's how you talk about the issues that are important to Americans. So they need to quit playing politics. They need to quit playing games. It's going to have an impact on Iowans, and especially vulnerable Iowans. So pass the clean CR, get to the table, do your job, and start addressing really the appropriations that they need to be talking about. But in the interim, we need to be ready. And so we're doing daily calls with food banks. I think it's about $45 million a month. That is the cost of SNAP alone. So it's a federal program. It's not something states can fund. We've not budgeted for it. But if you remember, I stood up during COVID a Feeding Iowans task force. And so we'll take a look at that. And I think the infrastructure is already in place, how we were able to make sure that our food banks were able to serve Iowans during COVID. So we've got, a really good place to start. And so we'll kind of stand that up and take a look at how we distributed food or just monitored it during COVID and implement some of those best practices.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Oh, very nice to meet you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for your patience.
No.